What's up, everybody? Darren here, and with me as always is Toby
Hey guys.
from College Gaming, and we're doing a E3 wrap-up. So we're going to go through each of our lists of 5 best games that we've seen and 5 biggest announcements that we've seen. So first off, we're going to go through the 5 biggest announcements. These are our opinions. This is what we feel is best of show. So how this is going to work is I'm going to start with number 5, and then Toby will give his number 5, and we'll work all the way up to number 1. So we're going to do the announcements first, and I'll start with mine. So number 5. Sony's no authentication. They announced this at their press conference. They announced that you will not need to authenticate your PS4 to play online. Not 24 hours, not ever. It was a pretty big announcement for Jack Tretton to give. It was a direct kick in the balls to Microsoft, because they just pretty much announced a week before that you will need to authenticate once every 24 hours or once every hour, I think, if you're in a friend's house. So it has to be an online console. So they came out and they said no authentication, no online connection required.
Okay, yeah, so I think that's a good thing, after Microsoft have just said, hey, hey, we're going to have to authenticate things, you can't resell games, hey, it's all going to have to be done via us and via our marketplace, etc. Sony, it's a good move, really. It's not much to say about it. As a PC gamer, I'm pretty used to not being able to trade games and stuff in, but basically it's just common sense on Microsoft's behalf, just to stick one up to Sony's behalf. Sorry, stick one up to Microsoft, and it's a good move. Good move.
Did you expect it? Were you surprised?
I was surprised. I didn't expect it purely because I wanted it to happen, but everyone was pretty much thinking that it was the developers that, the publishers even, that pushed Microsoft to have this, and if they pushed Microsoft to have it, they're probably going to push Sony to have it as well. But it's definitely a nice.
That's what everyone was saying. From IGN, Colin Moriarty kept saying that over and over on Podcast Beyond and the other podcasts that he does. But I was just thinking, how can a publisher push the console maker to do anything? I mean, what are they gonna?
The console makers make their money from the publishers.
Yeah, but what are they gonna do? Publishers are gonna say, well, we're not gonna put our game on your console. Oh, we're just gonna cut out 50% of our market. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
it's a chicken and egg kind of thing. They both need each other, so they can't bully each other like that.
But then again, it's not as big an announcement as it could be, because Sony have said, although they won't put it on their stuff, it is still publishers have the right to do it with their games, so it's not 100%.
Yeah, but it means that Sony published games won't, and there's 14 studios under Sony.
No, I mean, Sony published games won't, and that's what I'm saying. It's a good thing, but big publishers like Activision and EA most likely will still be doing stuff like that. But that's extra.
Okay, let's move on to your number 5. So number 5.
Okay, guys. So my number 5 is a bit of a cross between the announcements for the conferences and the announcements for the individual games themselves. But it is definitely for me a highlight. It has to be that DICE is going to be making the next Star Wars Battlefront game. Ever since we found out that the EA have currently got the rights to 99% of all the Star Wars games, minus the Disney ones, we've been hoping and praying that DICE will be making the next Battlefront, and that Battlefront is going to be coming at all. I'm sure you guys are as pumped as I am. When people think of Star Wars games, obviously the pinnacle of Star Wars games, really for most people, is Battlefront. And the fact the next one's coming out, and from a studio like DICE that has experience with Battlefield and stuff like that, they know how to do these games, so we're expecting great things from that.
Yeah, it looks really promising. I mean, obviously it was just a teaser trailer and everything, but you can't really go wrong with EA back and DICE making a Battlefront game. So they obviously know what they're doing, in the multiplayer front at least, anyway. And with the Frostbite 3, you can just imagine how good it's going to look. The vehicles, all the things. It's going to be amazing.
Exactly. It's going to be very hard for them to mess it up, which is why I'll happily say that's a highlight for me now without seeing any gameplay or anything like that.
Yeah. So my number 4 is Final Fantasy Versus 13 got revealed again, re-revealed and rebranded as Final Fantasy 15. Now I'm a pretty big Final Fantasy fan, but I haven't really liked the last 3 because they've just been either with you. I don't want to be sexist here, but you play as girls, and it's quite you kind of get the whole story is kind of revolved around the girl, and it just seems a bit weird. It's not, I don't know, it's not for me. I don't want to be sexist. I don't mind playing as girls in game. In fact, I love doing it in DayZ. But as far as Final Fantasy goes, I just didn't really like the ones they did with girls as the main character. Anyway, so yeah, they showed footage of it again, and they said I think it's coming at the end of the year or possibly next year. I have to check up on that. But I was just really impressed with that. I didn't expect to see that game again. A lot of people thought it was gone. Nobody's seen anything from it for about 2 years. And it looks really cool. It used to be PlayStation exclusive, but it's on everything now. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So
I don't have an opinion on that because I don't like Final Fantasy games.
Okay, so moving on. That's fine.
Okay, guys, so my number 4 announcement this year, once again game related, it's Mirror's Edge 2. Fantastic. That's a good bit of news. I know how much Darren, you're a Mirror's Edge fan as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, I I bought it for
I'm
PlayStation. I think I loved it. Yeah, it's great.
I'm pretty sure it was I borrowed it off you, and that's why I played it. I seem to remember. But great game. Obviously, looking back at it now, it's very dated, and it's actually not that great when you look back at it. But at the time, it was just so different to everything else. It was just fantastic. And Mirror's Edge 2, people have been asking for it, as they said in the announcement. This is what you guys have been asking for. But no, I don't think anyone was really expecting it to be announced this year. It's been kept very hush hush. It's looking cool. We haven't only seen a brief bit of CGI'd gameplay, but Mirror's Edge 2 straight away from DICE can't really be a miss. That's good.
Yeah, it's interesting that DICE are like doing like 3 different games now.
They're working a lot at the moment, but hey, after.
But yeah, no, like that's obviously a great game. The only gripe I had with it really was that it was just quite short. It was only like 7 hours long or something. So I didn't buy it, so I didn't mind. I got lend. But yeah, I guess that's a good problem to have. You just want to play more of it. So it should be good. It's good. I don't know. I bet they're gonna do something like online though and stuff. Hope they don't wreck it. All right. So my number 3 is the Sony and their no use games policy. So I know this. I've kind of treading this ground again with the no authentication, but they came straight out and they said we fully support used games, which is just again it's a pretty surprising thing to say because traditionally used games for a big company like Sony it doesn't make them any money because it's GameStop to get the money from that. So to come out and actually say that we support used games is a really big deal because it just basically says we give a shit about our consumers. We know that people like to do this and it's just healthy for the industry in general. So that was like, I was just hugely surprised by that. I couldn't believe it. I mean, that was the first thing Jack Tretton said when he came back out midway through the show. Big smile on his face, everyone standing up in the crowd clapping their hands. It was an amazing announcement and I don't think anybody's seen it coming. So yeah.
I kind of given my thoughts on that on your last point, but yeah, it's a great announcement, and just the atmosphere when that was announced was mind-blowing. Everyone spectating it said what an amazing moment that was when he said that. He just had the crowd in the palm of his hand. It was fantastic. Great moment. Okay, guys, so my number 3 is controversially for college gaming. As we try and be as equal opportunities as possible. We're not big Microsoft fans in general. Is actually a pro Microsoft. My number 3. I know, Darren. Just bear with me. My number 3 is that Microsoft are finally dropping their stupid Microsoft Points currency system.
Oh yeah.
It was stupid. No one understood the ratios of it so that's obviously why they did it in the first place. It confused people into I don't know how much 600 Microsoft Points is. It's it might be $15, it might be $20. I don't know. So I'll just pay for that rather than having now them having local currency. That's good. I don't know why they haven't done it before. I do know why, but I'm glad they're doing that because it adds a bit of transparency to people's transactions, which I don't like people being duped intentionally like that. And also the fact that once again finally Xbox Live Gold subscription will be giving away free games again like PlayStation Plus. It's I'm not going to have an Xbox, so it doesn't affect me, but it's good practice, and I'm glad to see that when people are paying for their subscription, they are getting something for it.
I can't believe that. I did not know that. Yeah, I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, so they're going the PlayStation Plus route, which I'm happy about. That's good.
Yeah.
Good for gamers.
All's fair, I suppose.
I knew you'd be better, but it's good for gamers, so I'm happy about it.
Well, no, I don't want to be bitter, but yeah, no, I genuinely didn't know that, so yeah, that's quite interesting. So my number 2 is the EA announcement that Battlefront is being made by DICE. So Toby just covered this, so we don't need to go into it again, but that's my number 2. I felt that was the second most important thing.
Okay, we'll go probably. So guys, my number 2 announcement is not necessarily positive, but it's not necessarily negative either, but it is one of the one of my most important announcements to me anyway, is that Sony PlayStation Plus is now, it depends how you look at it, either PlayStation Plus is going to be required for multiplayer or that you have to pay a subscription to play multiplayer games on Sony. Obviously, normally I'd be against something like that. If when it's been on Microsoft for the past 7 years or so, I've been very against having to pay for something that is just using your internet connection, which you pay for anyway. But to be honest, with PlayStation Plus, it's been different because with PlayStation Plus, you do get your value's worth. The amount of games you've got, I think people have gotten something like 38 games or something over the last 9 months or something like that.
Yeah, well, so even like myself, like I have a PlayStation Vita and I haven't paid for one game on it, and I still have like so much of a backlog to play through it. And the fact that it all transfers over to PS4 is like even better. So.
Exactly. So when you're getting your money's worth for something like that, I have no problems with that. I think that's perfectly fine. You're still only paying, I think it's $45 for a year. If obviously if you buy it in that year bundle, obviously the bundles are different prices, but I think it's like 2 games a month or something like that. Plus with all these early access stuff, so I think that's very worthwhile, and I think that's good. And so yeah, and also what's the Japanese guy? Something Yoshida.
Shuhei Yoshida.
Shuhei Yoshida. Yeah. Okay, guys, and the second bit of that is also that I don't mind. Again, I'm quite happy with that because Shuhei Yoshida has actually given a good reason behind it. He hasn't just said you're going to pay money for it and that's that. He has actually said that although all games companies are going to say something like this, I do still appreciate that he said it, that the money that they're getting from that is going to be used to drive forward the PlayStation Plus features. And, you know, with these next-gen consoles where they are going to have all this live streaming and all this kind of stuff built into them, I think that's perfectly reasonable if they are using that money to push that service forward and fund that service. So I don't mind an announcement.
I still reckon though that when the Gaikai thing starts being rolled out in 2014, I reckon if you want to be a part of that, you have to pay a little bit extra, like a higher tier subscription to PlayStation Plus is my guess, but we don't know.
Yeah,
but that's my
it's
guess.
quite possible, but with Sony so far, they haven't been ripping people off, especially this E3. They've all been about giving, you know, decent value. So if it's something that is worth the amount of money they're going to charge for it, I have no problem with that. You know, if it's a good service and, you know, and we're paying a bit of money for that, which isn't too much, then I'm happy with that. That's no problem to me.
All right, so my number one announcement of E3 2013 is the fact that PlayStation 4 is only $399, and it's $100 cheaper than the Xbox One. I don't think, like, I honestly just didn't see it coming. I know it seems like I'm real like catering to Sony here, but like in fairness, I just feel like the three biggest announcements. So $399 is just like an unbelievably like cheap in my mind price point, especially considering PlayStation 3 is $600, Xbox One is $500, you know, so this one is $400, and technically its hardware is technically better than the Xbox. Like the graphics, I think it's the graphics card. Oh no, not the graphics card. The RAM, sorry, is a higher speed RAM, and it comes with the same hard drive space, all that good stuff. So I just think it was a pretty bold move that and I don't know how they're making money on it, to be honest, but there you go.
I just want to reply to Darren with, firstly, they're not making money on it. Both companies are making a loss on their consoles. Secondly,
yeah, but no, I mean,
that's just
even factoring that in, like I know that.
No, I know they're going to be making a big loss on it.
Yeah.
Microsoft haven't actually announced the specs of their console yet, apart from what the RAM's going to be. But everyone is more or less set that it's going to be a fair bit worse than the Sony. Obviously, that won't make a massive difference in terms of games early on, but it's just, you know, it's value for money for, you know, the
I'm
dollars.
pretty sure they've announced like what chip it's going to use and how much hard drive space, and also the graphics card, but the RAM.
They've announced the hard drive space. They've announced how much RAM it's going to have. They haven't actually said it's only going to be DDR3 yet, but the speculation has been pretty much leaked. It's going to be DDR3 instead of DDR5 like Sony's going to have. But they haven't officially announced the specs of the console yet, apart from the RAM space. How much RAM there's going to be and the hard drive. And secondly, I wanted to point out, which I don't know if you know and just forgot about, but in terms of the hard drive space, the PlayStation is going to have a removable hard drive. You can upgrade that hard drive space. So it starts with 500, like the Xbox One.
Yeah.
The Xbox One is inaccessible to consumers. You cannot change the hard drive. You'll have to buy a new model. Sony's has an upgradable hard drive slot. You can take that hard drive out, carry it around, put a bigger hard drive in. That's a good bit of news right there. So my number one, okay guys, so my number one isn't really an announcement. Darren's talked about them all in 3 different points, but I'm going to put it into one point. Jack Trenton's last 5 minutes of even him being on stage, just, I mean, the competitors, E3 is always, you know, fairly genial between the two. You know, there's rivalry obviously between Xbox and Microsoft, but they're relatively close. There's not any. They always stay away from directly.
They never talk about it. They never talk about it. Yeah.
No, they never mention directly what their competitors are doing and answer those addresses. They have their own things, even though their announcements may reflect that, but they never say this is what they're doing. We're not doing this or anything like that. This year, Jack Trenton has just completely stuck his middle finger up to Xbox. He's gone. It looks like he's read a YouTube comments page and he's gone, this is what people don't like about the Xbox One. This is exactly what we're not going to have, and I'm going to rub it in the most Jack Trent in your face on stage way I possibly can in front of 2,000 people. And you really have to watch it. I hope we put a clip of it or something in, because it was just the 2 minutes when he announced the no DRM, the free, the available used games, and all the no restrictions. The crowd went absolutely mad, and you could see how happy he was, and they made completely the right call. But it was just so unlike E3, directly answering what a competitor's doing and saying the exact opposite. And I can't remember his exact quote, but he made an almost direct reference. He goes, unlike some people or something like this, we don't think you have to do this to play games, or something like that.
Yeah, also, he's like, we trust our customers, and he said no authentication, not 24 hours, not ever. 24 hours is like direct kick in the balls.
Yes, and obviously if you don't know, you're just watching this as a wrap up, Xbox One has to connect to the internet every 24 hours for it to function and to authenticate itself. So his little does not have to connect every 24 hours, directly answering Xbox without saying better than the Xbox. And then just to tack onto that point, onto this whole thing, at the same time they had the Shuhei Yoshida had his
Oh
PlayStation
yeah.
official video of, as Darren will remember now and talk about, I'm sure, his how to share used games on the PlayStation 4. And if you saw this, once again, as we talked about, their marketing is never directly against the other competition. This video is absolutely brilliant. I don't even want to talk about it because it's so good. You just need to watch it, really. I'm sure we'll put a link in the description. Make sure you watch it. It's a minute and a half long, and you will see why it got us so hyped and got us so excited.
Yeah, it has a huge amount of views. It has something like 4 million views at the moment. It's crazy. It's yeah, I can't believe they could have just done it normally, but to have the actual corporate faces doing what they did in the video is just amazing as well.
Because like when I first watched it, I thought it was a fan video
No,
until I realized who actually was in it, and
well, yeah,
I
it's
thought,
the
oh
two
my
blokes that
god.
were like on the stage on
I
the
know,
day.
and then I realized. That's what I realized. Then I realized, oh my god, I can't believe it. Just the balls on Sony, and good on them. It's brilliant. Such a good bit of marketing. Such a good bit of marketing.
So that's it for our E3 announcements. We're going to do a separate video where we have our E3 favorite games of E3 2013. So make sure you watch that. It'll be at the same time. You just go over, follow the annotation, and it'll be right into the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next E3.
See you next time. See you next time, guys.
Please watch more of our videos.